Hello and welcome, my name is Kyle FtW and welcome back to another Call of Duty Vanguard video. Today we're back with another best class setup video, and today we're taking a look at the brand new AR, which is the M40, which is an AR that was added into the game with, of course, the Season 2 update. Now this is actually a really good assault rifle. I've obviously used it, gotten it to the max rank, and it's really solid. Like, when they said that in the update before, before Season 2 went live, they said how this weapon was going to be a direct competitor with the, the STG and, other really good ARs. They weren't wrong. They definitely weren't wrong. And overall, I think that this class is really good, and I have really enjoyed using this weapon. So without any further delay, this weapon feels a lot like, well, actually, there's not really anything for me to compare it to. I mentioned that in the actual gameplay that I got a couple of weeks ago. It's pretty unique. It feels like a very unique weapon to Vanguard, but it is really good nonetheless. So starting off here with the very first attachment, I have gone for the M9 flash hider, which improves muzzle flash concealment and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed. Now, as you guys know, I usually tend to sway towards silencers like the MX silencer, maybe even the Mercury silencer, but for some reason the MX silencer actually doesn't work properly. Whenever I use it in game, it's just kind of loud, or the weapon isn't suppressed. So I think that this silencer is broken, which I guess is fine because I'm not even using it. But the reason that I like the M9 flash hider is basically the same reasons that I like the MX silencer, except it's just a little bit different. So instead of improving the accuracy like what the MX silencer does, this improves recoil control by 1, which they're both useful, but they both do the same thing. The M9 flash hider does muzzle flash concealment, which means it's sort of silenced. It's not fully silenced like with the MX silencer or the Mercury silencer. And what they mean by improved muzzle flash concealment is that basically it is just a loud, unsilenced weapon that doesn't show you up on the radar. So basically, sort of am using this as a silencer, and that's why I had that first attachment. For the next attachment, I've gone for the Krausnik 700mm 01V barrel, which makes the weapon highly accurate and controllable, reduces the scope sway and gun bob, and improves the aim walking movement speed at the cost of sprint to fire speed, hip fire accuracy, and movement speed. I did originally try using the Reisdorf Shrouded, which improves a whole bunch of things, which instead of what we have over here with the aim walking movement speed, it improves flinch resistance and bullet velocity. But when I was using it, the weapon felt really slow. The negatives to speed are huge with this weapon, so I definitely prefer having the other barrel on, and it's just really good. Again, it's one of those good barrels that are with other ARs within the game that basically just make it a laser beam, make it really good from range and everything like that. So that's why I've gone for this barrel. For the optic, this is obviously up to personal preference. You can really equip whatever you want. Me personally, though, I've gone for the Shirashi Large Type 5 iron sights. I just prefer going with the iron sights whenever I play this game. I just like iron sights. I think that they're far superior to any of the other sights, and I'm just kind of used to using iron sights from Call of Duty. These are, or in previous Call of Duty games like, Black Ops 2 and stuff like that. I really like to rely on iron sights. They really don't, while sights are really useful and good, they do hurt you quite a bit in all reality because, sometimes they have some negatives that you don't like to see, or they just kind of can get in your way. Now obviously the slate reflector is really good, but again, I just like going with the iron sights. But again, when it comes to a sight, you can really use anything you want. I definitely would recommend using something that's a 1.35 times or less. You could obviously use a G16 2.5X if you so wish, but again, I just like the iron sights because they just feel the best, and I just like having, no blocking of vision. And what also helps about these iron sights is that they improve aim down sight speed by 1, which we obviously hurt with some attachments later on. For the stock, I have gone for the Reisdorf 336SK, which improves aim walking movement speed by 4, aim walking steadiness by 4, +1 to sprint to fire speed, and increases movement speed by 1 at the cost of hip fire accuracy, flinch resistance, and accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. Basically, I was experimenting with all of the barrels, or all of the stocks I should say, in this game, and I just settled on this one. I just really like how mobile everything is. That +4 to aim walking movement speed is huge, and you really notice the difference. Obviously, we hurt the sprint to fire time, as well as maybe we even hurt the movement speed, so improving those things is also really good because you guys know how aggressive of a player I tend to be, and being able to have my sights up all the time, being able to move really quickly and effectively is always a really good thing. Obviously sprint aim walking steadiness means that your weapon won't be moving all over the place while you're actually in those strafing movements. Sprint to fire speed obviously is really important for rushing, and then movement speed just makes some of the negatives that we have on this weapon already up to this point just feel a little bit not quite as bad. Now the -3 to hipfire accuracy and the -2 to flinch resistance and all the cons of this attachment do sound pretty bad, but I really haven't experienced any issues with these cons. I mean, obviously you're not going to really be hipfiring with ARs to begin with because you're supposed to be from close range, and I even got a hipfire kill in the gameplay that you guys are watching, and it was easy. It was like no problem. Flinch resistance, that can only be really affected heavily if you are playing against weapons that have a flinch improving attachments, but nobody really uses those, and none of the guns that people use in this game have that. I mean, most of my lobbies are Cooper carbines, STGs, and MP40s, and none of those weapons, as far as I believe, have increased flinch attachments on them. So again, I don't really have any issue with that. And accuracy and recoil control during sustained fire, this weapon kills so fast that you don't even see that it has a problem. For the underbarrel, I was actually experimenting with this. I went between the SMLE pistol grip, the M3 ready grip, which is one of my more favorite types of grips within this game, but I went ahead and settled with the M1930 Strife Angled, which is basically one of my go-tos for ARs. It improves accuracy by 2, improves aiming stability by 1, and improves aim walking steadiness by 1 at the cost of 1 to sprint to fire speed, which, again, pretty self-explanatory here, makes the weapon more accurate. Aiming stability is always really nice. I still don't really know what aiming stability is exactly. One of the better attachments within Modern Warfare actually was an aiming stability improving attachment. I just don't really know what that means. I know what stability means, but I don't really know how when you're aiming down sights you're not stable, but again, still really like it. And then aim walking steadiness we already talked about previously. So basically what I went for with this class was high damage and very mobile, and we are continuing to do that as this class goes on. For the magazine, I've gone for the 30 Yacht 6 or .30-06 50-round drum, which improves bullet velocity and range by 2, improves magazine ammo capacity by 2, improves damage range by 1, and then increases bullet penetration by 1 at the cost of 5 to recoil control and accuracy, -3 to aim down sight speed, -2 to movement speed, and -2 to fire rate. Now again, this attachment sounds really bad, but trust me, it's not. You guys are seeing the gameplay in the background, and I am just melting people with this weapon. That improved damage and that improved bullet velocity just makes this weapon insanely good. Yes, those negatives sound bad, but luckily you can counter every single one of those negatives, make them at least maybe less than 1, or you can completely negate them altogether, which we've already have done with most of the other attachments on this class. And again, this class basically has no recoil. It's super accurate, does a ton of damage, and that's what this round does. Now, we'll get to something a little bit later in the proficiency about why I made specific decisions, but again, in my opinion, it's the best mag for this weapon. It improves the ammo by a lot. I mean, I think you can get like 4 or 5 kills with the 50-round drum without having to reload, which is absolutely insane. The secure rounds are pretty good. They do the aim down recoil control and accuracy, aim down sight speed, fire rate, but it was just basically a direct counter to the mag that we just equipped. But again, I just really like the 50-round mags. And of course, the other mags are just either improve the reload or improve the magazine capacity with nothing else. And again, just really like that ammo type or magazine. For the ammo type, I've once again gone for length, and this is basically my go-to with every single AR. So we basically now improve the bullet velocity on this weapon by 5, maybe even more, which basically means that this thing is going to kill really fast from any range, which is awesome. Of course, like it's a really good AR. Like no judging it at all. It's absolutely amazing. That bullet velocity just helps just a little bit more with those long range gunfights, and it seems like it's sort of like a flip of a switch. The second you put bullet velocity improving stuff on ARs, they become automatically really good. And luckily, lengthen comes really fast when you're trying to rank this weapon up, which is obviously a really good thing. And again, that's really all I can really talk about with the lengthen rounds. Finally, for the rear grip, or I guess we're not quite done yet, but with the rear grip, I've gone for the fabric grip once again, which improves aim down sight speed, improves sprint to fire speed, and improves hipfire recoil recovery at the cost of -1 to accuracy. This is basically my go-to grip as well, or rear grip, I should say. I really just like the positives. I like improving that aim down sight speed. I like improving that sprint to fire speed. And while hipfire recoil recovery really isn't that useful, because we hurt the hipfire accuracy so badly with the stock, this can come in handy for sure. And then that -1 to accuracy is really no big deal. The weapon still has no recoil at all, and part of the reason that I think that this class is so good is because the damage is so high on this weapon that you really don't need to worry about accuracy. We also help that a little bit in the future of this class setup, but again, just really like the fabric grip. You know, aim down sight speed is pretty self-explanatory, sprint to fire speed. Just trying to improve everything with the class, trying not to have anything in the red area, just trying to make everything better and feel faster with this weapon. Because again, with my playstyle, with how rush heavy I am of a player, I don't like having slow ARs. I like having really fast ARs, stalker, stock, whatever. Those attachments that really improve that aim walking movement speed by a lot are my go-tos, and you know, this class has to be fast because I have to compete with SMGs and I have to compete with other faster firing ARs as well. Now jumping in here with the proficiency. Now this weapon actually does have Vital on it. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about within this video is that I actually did experiment with Vital and a lower caliber mag. So for those guys who don't know, Vital only increases the area for critical hits if you are using the lower caliber rounds or using the base ammunition. So for example, if I were to equip the 6.5mm secure 35 round mags, then Vital would work really well. If I was using the 8mm Clouser 50 round drum or the 8mm Clouser 20 round mags, then it would also work. But with this attachment that I have, the 30-06 50 round drum, that doesn't work properly. So Vital is basically useless on this class. The only reason I would ever equip that, or I could equip it if I wanted to, but it would be absolutely useless. So I actually decided to not use Vital in this class, because when I was using Vital, the weapon actually felt like it killed faster with the mag than with Vital, which is, I know, crazy and kind of maybe an underrated thought for people who actually play Vanguard a lot, but that's actually a true reality. If you use Vital, you know, if you use the higher damage, it probably will kill faster than if somebody is using Vital, which is crazy, because what the ammo type over here does, that we talked about earlier in the video, is that it improves damage, which means that's over the entire body. So from head to toe, you're improving the damage. With Vital, you're basically only getting, as far as I know, I haven't really done any like research or any studies, quote unquote, on it, but I think it's only chest and higher you're going to be able to kill faster. So for some reason, for me, Vital felt worse on this weapon than if I had this magazine, so that's why I'm not using Vital. So what else would you use? Well, I tested out sleight of hand, which is obviously a really useful one, but what I actually went for with this class was Brace, which improves initial recoil accuracy and recoil by 1, which means this improves your recoil, very self-explanatory, the second that you shoot the weapon. And luckily, with how fast this weapon kills within game, this is really useful. By the time that an enemy is down and out, by the time that I take out an enemy within the game, this initial recoil accuracy and recoil has helped the weapon enough to get that kill, and then I can move on and get the next kill. So you really don't feel like the recoil is very high on this thing. Plus, in all reality, this KG M40 doesn't really have much recoil to begin with, so putting that mag that increases it by a lot, it's very easy to decrease it. But I just really like the initial accuracy and recoil control. It just really helps. I mean, all of my gunfights within the gameplay and from the times that I've used this class have been sort of swayed in a way because of this attachment. I mean, obviously the weapon starts to kick up after about 6 or 7 shots, but by that time, you've already gotten the kills, so really like Brace. And then last but not least, for my kit, I've gone for fully loaded once again. Again, very self-explanatory. Fully loaded, max starting ammo +1. Again, there's really nothing else that I would really equip. If I was ranking up the weapon, I'd probably use Surplus, or if I wanted to rank up really fast, I'd use Surplus. But the rest of the things within the kits really aren't that useful. I don't mount, so mounted move or defender is useless. I don't melee, so heavy hitter, reach, and fast melee are all useless. On hand and deep breath don't really seem that are that important. So I always go with fully loaded. Always love having ammo in the mag. And in my reserve, I think with this class, it has 50 out of 300. So you're never going to run out of ammo, never going to have to worry about that, which also helps when you go on really big streaks. What this weapon can do, I think the highest streak I've gone on with this weapon was like a 20 gun streak. Unfortunately, I probably could have gotten a V2 rocket, but my teammate actually got a V2 rocket, and that ended the game, so I was like on a 21 or something when my teammate got his V2 rocket. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for the base class itself. Now we'll go ahead and jump into the secondary and the perks, but again, the class is really good, really aggressive, very much low recoil, very high time to kill with this thing, and overall it's a very good class. For the secondary, I have gone for the RAT, or RATT pistol, which is one of the better pistols in the game. I would say it's probably the best pistol in the game. The pros use this one. And again, the secondaries are really up to you for personal preference. If you're going for launcher camos, you can maybe have a launcher instead of the pistol. I just like having a pistol just in case I run out of ammo. Again, I'll just put the image on screen this time. Normally I kind of write down what I have on it, but I'll just go ahead and put the image on screen of the class that I have with the rat pistol. I don't have it ranked up very much, so basically this is the class that I've been rocking with, just in case I need it. I rarely do need it, but if I ever need it, I'm glad that I have it. So that's the secondary. For the perks, again, this is going to be very boring. This is the same thing that I've covered in pretty much every best class setup video. For the perk 1, I've gone for Cold-Blooded, which makes AI-controlled kill streaks will not target you, and player-controlled kill streaks will not highlight you. You do not trigger High Alert, reduces the range at which various markers appear for your enemies. I also do wish that that Cold-Blooded countered Piercing Vision, but unfortunately it does not. But I really like Cold-Blooded in this game. You know, normally when I'm a player, or throughout my Call of Duty career, I guess if I could even really say that, I used to use really only Ninja. I used to really only use like Fortified, which reduces damage from explosives, or Ghost, but Cold-Blooded in this game actually seems better than Ghost. Not very many people UAV spam is pretty high, and sometimes I'll run into players who will see me on the UAV and I'll get killed by them, but for some reason I rarely run into players who are like constantly on top of the UAV. If they see me on the UAV, they turn around and gun me down, but a lot of the time I don't really run into that. In all reality, what I run into more than anything is actually High Alert. I mean, earlier in this game's life cycle, I would be constantly getting killed by High Alert, and it was getting really annoying. So I equipped Cold-Blooded, and ever since then, I really haven't had any problems with Cold-Blooded or with High Alert, and I've actually done better. My KD's gone way up since I've started to use Cold-Blooded. I mean, obviously, Ghost and Fortified are really good perks, but I've just stuck with Cold-Blooded for most of the year, and it really, really works really well. Obviously, sometimes I'll run into lobbies where the players are really good, and they do look at the UAV all the time. But again, just prefer Cold-Blooded, and obviously the AI-controlled kill streaks will not target you. That's really, really nice, especially when an enemy calls in dogs. I can still be a really, really aggressive player. I don't have to worry about getting killed by dogs, and I also won't worry about getting killed by a Volturic gunner unless the player is really good and has keen eyes, so just really, really like Cold-Blooded. For my perk 2, again, Radar. Enemies appear on your minimap when they fire an unsilenced weapon. Pretty much use this because I've been playing Call of Duty for so long that I don't like using anything else but Radar. Having that normal minimap is really, really nice, especially because a lot of players in this game don't use Radar, so I basically have an advantage that way because they prefer to use Piercing Vision, which I think is kind of broken, but whatever. They're not going to change it or anything like that. But Radar, again, that classic minimap, really, really enjoy using that. And then last but not least, for my perk 3, I have gone with Lightweight once again. I just like how speedy this game is with Lightweight. I don't know what this game would be like if I didn't use Lightweight, because that's all I used. I mean, basically the first day this game came out, I equipped Lightweight on all of my classes, and I haven't changed that since. I mean, I just love how fast you are with Lightweight. With your SMGs are super, super speedy, with ARs are super, super speedy, and also I don't really see any point to using any of the other perk 3s. Scavenger is useless in this game because they're fully loaded. Tactician, don't really need that because I use stims, which I mean, I guess Tactician could be pretty useful when I use stims if I run out of them, for example. Overkill, never use this ever. I see no reason to, especially with this class. Demolition, extra lethal on spawn, don't need that. Double time, increased duration, or double the duration of tactical sprint. Don't really need that when I'm already really, really speedy with Lightweight. So in my opinion, Lightweight is the best perk in the perk 3 category, and I just really, really like it. Love how fast I am, and so that is the perks. Last but not least, the lethal and tactical, pretty much no different. The only thing that I've changed with the lethal is I've started to use the sticky bomb, which is of course a season 2 reward. Just really like it. I've always loved Semtexes within Call of Duty. They're super, super useful. You throw them on an objective, you can even get some sticks, and they're just overall really useful. And I just enjoy using them the most. Obviously, this can be really anything you want. I've tried using demolition charges, but nothing seems to be as good as the classic C4 from Black Ops 2, because again, with the demolition charge within Vanguard, you have to throw it, you have to wait for it to lay on the ground, and then you can use it. Plus, the lethals are really, really weak in this game, so I just like throwing. I just basically use my sticky bomb as sort of like a stun grenade, or basically like a UAV, a mini UAV. It's just so that I can know where enemies are. But again, it's just really useful to throw that on an objective and be able to take out enemies. And then of course, stim, pretty much. I mean, I've explained this so many times since Modern Warfare 2019, since even Black Ops 4, that I don't think it's worth mentioning in this video. But again, just love playing very aggressive. That's the way I play Call of Duty. That's the way I have the most fun. And stim just comes in very, very usefully when I'm, rushing and I'm getting into a lot of gunfights. Especially because I have intel as one of my kill streaks. I'll always know where enemies are, and I like getting into gunfights very, very quickly, and stim allows me to do that. If I was using anything else, I'd have to wait for my health to regen to full, and then I'd get to go back in the gunfight. But with this, I I get wounded, I instantly use my stim, and I get right back in the gunfight, and it's really, really useful. So anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this best class setup video. Field upgrades, you can use whatever you want. Kill streaks, you can use whatever you want with this class. But the goal of this class is basically to minimize recoil as much as I possibly can while having very high damage, and also am able to play aggressive with it. And trust me, this class is really, really good. I definitely recommend giving it a go. For some reason, the KG M40 is really underrated within Vanguard's multiplayer. I've heard that it's really bad in Warzone, but at least in multiplayer, it's super, super solid. So definitely recommend giving it a go. If you guys did enjoy this video, though, a like and those are appreciated. If you want to check out any of my other previous best class setup videos from Call of Duty Vanguard, they will all be linked down below the playlist in the description. The next weapon that I will be going for and trying and completing for this game is going to be the new LMG. So I'm definitely excited to make that video and see how good that LMG class could be, because the LMG is already really good, so I'm definitely excited to make the best class setup video for that. But anyways, hopefully you guys go to enjoy the major one, which is going live this weekend. As you guys can see in the gameplay, I was using the team packs and everything like that, so hopefully you guys go to enjoy that if you are interested in CDL, but if not, then that's always cool. But anyways, I'll see you guys all another Call of Duty Vanguard video very, very soon.